Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me for another office hours training. I am Crystal L. Gunn, your financial strategist and small business advisor. Part of my job as that strategist is to help you have some aha moments, some self-discovery moments, and helping you see what no longer serves you so you can release all of those things so that you can soar. I help you with those breakthroughs because that's where you start to shift. That's where the magic happens, be it in your personal finances or your overall business. And it's Tuesday. So let's talk credit again today. Now, I've given information on credit basics, how to start to clean up your reports. I'll come back and keep talking about credit more and more on Tuesdays. And so be sure you go back and watch any of those past episodes. You can look for titles, Credit Mastery, right? But today, let's talk about credit cards. Well, let's start to talk about credit cards specifically. And I've given information on credit basics, again, how to clean up and all of that, how to clean up, how to start to use those credit cards effectively. And today, I want to go back and I want to talk about some mistakes that people make with using credit cards. So you've heard me say, and you will continue to hear me say, every credit card you have should have a job. Just like I say, every dollar you earn should have a job. And so we'll get more into giving those credit card jobs in some future trainings, right? But today I want to look at, or I want to start to look at mistakes people make with their credit cards. And so today I'm going to go through 3, and then we will continue to talk about more in subsequent trainings. So the first one is carrying a balance on your credit cards, right? So when you talk about effectively using your credit card, you should be using your credit cards for everything, right? And then getting that bill and paying them off. I always say, just don't overthink it. Don't, you hear all of these things, this hack, that hack, pay by this date. If you can just get in the rhythm of using your credit cards, getting the bill and paying it by the due date, you will be surprised at what that will do to your credit scores, right? And even with the credit limits that you have with those credit card companies, right? So carrying a balance, technically you should not be carrying a balance from month to month, right? And I know we're in a time where that's not really possible for a lot of people to pay things off in full because people are using them to supplement income because the price of everything is so high right now. But you should be paying your credit cards off in full every single month. And when you think about it, when you do this, you wind up not paying the interest. So that there's a few things that happen. You've used the card, you get the bill the next month, you pay the balance off in full, right? So you're showing the the credit agencies that you can effectively use your credit card. You're showing the so your scores are going to go up. You are showing the credit card company that you're effectively using your credit cards. So your limit will start to increase. And you're not paying the interest on that balance, right? So remember, think about it. when you go to check out or pay for things at certain stores, they will ask you every time, hey, would you like to apply for a credit card? Get 10% off your purchase today, right? If you get that card, right? The reason that they're doing that, and they've been trained to do so, but the reason is they know, those stores know they're going to get far more in interest because you're going to carry a balance on that $200 purchase than if you just did that $200 purchase, right? So, first mistake people make with their credit cards is carrying a balance. You're paying interest. So you went in and you bought this $50 sweater. Now it winds up being, 75 or $100 because that credit card bill comes and you're only paying that minimum payment as opposed to paying it off in full. So now you're paying more for your purchase because you're being charged interest when you're carrying that balance. And not carrying a balance, using it, paying it off, shows the credit agencies, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, that you can use your credit cards effectively and your score will start to tick up. It shows the credit card companies that you're using your credit cards effectively and you may experience limit increases without even asking. So carrying a balance is a no-no, or it's something that you shouldn't be done. The only exception that I make for that is, let's say you had to make a large purchase. So you had to make, $2,000 because you needed a new, I don't know, furnace. I don't know how much they cost. And you didn't want to pay that off or could not pay it off right away. Then you need to determine in your mind, how many months are you going to take to pay that off? You're going to take 5 months, you're going to take 4 months, you're going to take 3 months, and make sure that you're doing that so that, one, that you're paying as little interest as possible, knowing that you're going to have to pay some interest, but that you don't wind up carrying that balance for months down the line and paying more interest. The second mistake people make with their credit cards is missing a payment. The second mistake people make with credit cards is missing a payment. You never, ever, ever want to miss a payment on any of your credit accounts, right? And one of the tips, not a trick, a tip that I give people, and when we're talking about credit cards specifically, right? If you have not done the thing and assigns every credit card you have a job. So if you haven't done that already and now you're just working on paying it every single month, right? Set up automatic bill pay from your bank account to send at least the minimum payment plus the interest, right? At least the minimum payment plus the interest on the due date, day or two before the due date, every single month, going automatically so that you never miss the payment. Now, if you want to go back and add more on that payment, making sure you're paying it in full if you can, or just adding extra payment to decrease that balance, then you have the option to go in and do it. This month it might be $70. Next month it might be an extra $20, whatever it is. But make sure off the rip that minimum payment plus interest is happening every single month. Because when you miss that credit card, when you miss that payment, and it's crazy to miss a credit card payment and your score drops 30, 40, 50 points, right? And it was a $27 payment, right? So you want to make sure that you're not missing a payment. You know what I mean? It's like if you have to pay, $30 less on your gas, lights, or water in order to make sure that payment happens, because some people are literally juggling payments and robbing Peter to pay Paul. When you are in that state, right? One of the things that you want to make sure that you maintain, if possible, is good credit, because you may need it through that storm, through this process, when you get out of the storm, whatever the thing is. Don't miss the payment. The third mistake that people make is exceeding the limit. So credit card limit is $1,000. Your credit card balance is 1,100, right? So you're taking a couple hits on your credit score. You're taking a hit because your utilization is high, and then you're taking another hit because you're over the limit. So the third thing that mistake that people make is allowing their credit card balance to exceed the credit card limit. Limit is $1,000. Now your balance is 1,100. You're taking a hit on utilization being high. You're taking another hit on your credit score for being over the limit, right? So never ever do that again. Going back to mistake number one, carrying a balance. You shouldn't be carrying a balance, but you definitely should not allow your credit card balance to exceed the credit card limit. Now, I understand with extremely high prices of everything, a lot of people are using their credit cards to supplement. And that's evidenced by the 1.8 trillion in collective credit card debt across this nation. But now more than ever, it's time for individuals to take a real hard look at their finances, determine what's important to them, and create an efficient and effective budget so that you can live the life that you desire and deserve. So it's time to move away from just buying more things and move towards to living a fulfilled life with lots of experiences, right? So I know if over 75% of the population in the US is living from paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to pay down your credit debt, your debt, right? And I'm not really, again, I don't believe in cookie cutter, so I'm not necessarily telling my clients to pay off their credit or to pay their credit off or credit card balances in full, because you might need that cash for something else. So everything depends on the individual and the individual situation, right? But make a point now. And here's the thing. I always ask, if they wiped out all your credit card debt, would you wind up right back in this space? That goes back to that efficient and effective budget and understanding what's important to you and being able to plan for the things that you want and not just doing things and then having to come back and fix it, or now you're carrying this credit card debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So again, it's time. It's beyond time. So just think about that thing. One of the things that I do in credit workshops and even individually is teach people how to use credit cards effectively, right? And so if your credit card debt got wiped clear, what would that do for you? How would and then how would you move after that? Would you just get those balances, back toward the over the limit, exceeding the limit, or that utilization really, really high again? Or would you manage your credit cards different? So again, it's time to move. Ooh, it's time to move away from buying just more things and move towards living a fulfilled life with lots of experiences. Are you ready for that? Because we shouldn't just be moving through life and we shouldn't just be moving through life um, paying bills. It's like I got 1,000 emails right back to back to back and had not shut down the email. So anyway, let's get to my favorite things because I can beat that thing with credit. I can beat that to a pulp. But let's get to my favorite things for today. And my favorite thing is really the credit check, my credit checkup. And again, this is on a personal or business side. But get your credit questions answered because sometimes you might not need credit coaching or credit repair. You may need a quick hour's worth of strategy for what you need to do in order to be able to move your credit into a better situation. You might need an hour's worth of strategy that says, um, don't do this thing because that's not going to have the impact that you need. Instead, do this thing, right? You may need, um, a lot of times people think that they need credit repair when in fact they need credit coaching. And so, again, that strategy session or credit checkup will help you with that. Again, either on the personal side or the business side. The other thing that is my favorite thing is just the credit coaching. And I call it my Credit Rise program. And it is credit repair. So restoring your credit to a stellar point, right? It is also helping you build credit, right? Because a lot of times, if someone has just had bad credit, they may not have any open credit. They may not be using credit at all. They may have a car note or something like that. They may not be using credit cards. So part of that program is teaching you how to build credit effectively. And then in addition to that, teaching you how to use it effectively. One, so that you don't get back in the same situation as before. right? But then creating you a plan, a strategy for you to use your credit effectively so that it's working in your favor and not against you, right? So that is my favorite thing for today. And what's next is, what's next is the things to do. Things to do. And I always break this down in very simple form, right? Because life is about a journey. And everybody's on their own journey. I always say there's no cookie cutter thing. So the journey that you're on versus the journey that your mate might be on, totally different. They've intertwined, but your journeys are separate and they're specific to you. So it's taking that journey one step at a time so that you can get the most of it. The journey is extremely important. So a lot of times people come to me and they're frustrated with their financial situation. They're frustrated with their credit cards. And I'm like, hey, this journey is for a purpose. And there's so much that you need to learn about you in this journey and other things. And then that journey helps with the information that you can pass down to the generations that follow you. So when you're healing your journey, you're not only healing your financial journey, you're healing the journey for the generations that follow you. And so we take it small steps. Because you do the small steps, you look back and you heal and you've climbed a mountain. So, what are these next steps for today? The first one is pull your credit reports if you have not done so already because you have missed, I don't know, all of the credit trainings before. So the link to be able to pull all 3 credit reports, there's a link in the description. You want to make sure you're pulling, I don't really care where you pull it from, but you want to make sure that you're pulling the credit reports with the FICO scores. So not the Vantage scores, because if you're going to a lender, they're looking at FICO. Okay. So you want to make sure that you pull all your credit reports with FICO scores. So some people are out there using these other credit reporting apps and all of those things. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. And people will say, oh, I get this credit score from, I have this account with such and such creditor, and they give me a free credit score. Okay, you got to make sure you're looking. Are they giving you FICO or are they giving you Vantage? Right? Because Vantage is not wrong. It's just a different scoring model. So pull all your credit reports, print them out. People will say that they'll go to, what is it, annualcreditreport.com and get that annual credit report. You're not getting a FICO score. And I don't suggest, I mean, you can go to annualcreditreport.com if you want. But you're not going to get your FICO score. But the way that they track and report your payments, one credit report might be 50 or 100 pages, right? So just know that if you're going there, but you want something compact, a tri-merge report, preferably, but you want all 3 of those credit reports, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, with your FICO scores and print them out. The reason that I want you to print them out is so that you can see. It's one thing to be able to see things online, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to take a highlighter to your credit report that you've printed out and look at, what needs to be updated, what needs to change, what you need to fix, and all of those things so that you can create a strategy. So pull all of your credit reports, and then have you or are you making any of the mistakes that I spoke about today? So you got to go back and you got to actually look at that credit report, right? And again, highlight those accounts. Have you or are you making any of those mistakes, the 3 that I spoke about today, on that credit report? And then, I go back to Are You Mad, which is an acronym for make a decision. Are you ready to make a decision with your credit report, with your credit? Right? And then move and just make the make a decision and move forward. Stop sitting in the same place. Stop being stuck. Stop sticking your head in the sand and not utilizing the tools and the resources that are out there to get you from A to Z, to help you improve your credit, to help you improve your financial situation, to help you improve the quality of your life, to help you improve your health. Because if you're worried and stressing out about finances, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're worried and stressing out about finances, that's bad for your health. It's also negatively impacting all of these other relationships in your life. So whatever you do, don't be in the same place 6 months from now. Don't do the same thing that you've done previously. In some instances have been nothing and expect something different. It's time to level up and improve your financial relationship so that you can live again the life that you desire and deserve, and not the one that you get after paying bills. It's time for you to get and have better credit and use it effectively. Use it as a tool for your life. You don't want to make it a burden. For right now, for a lot of people, credit is a burden because they have so much debt, especially credit card debt. You don't want it to be a burden. And I keep asking you, if your credit got wiped clear today, would you be in the same situation? So I want you to think about that. And so before that happens, you want to make sure that you know how to use credit effectively. Because if you don't, you're going to be in the same situation, right? So if this information has been helpful to you, please, please, please follow my page and subscribe so that you don't miss notifications for the next training, and share it with somebody else. You never know who's going through what. They may not know where to find the resources. You never know. And so you want to share it to be a blessing to somebody else. If you are in need of personal or business strategy, if you need a personal or business checkup, if you need a credit checkup, if you need credit repair, coaching, and restoration, let's talk about it. The consultation scheduling links are below in the description. And lastly, as I always say in every session, remember to always give yourself some grace. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you've been pigeonholed and put into a situation because of the way that we have been conditioned. All of that, make sure you give yourself some grace. Keep striving for your next level of elevation. Don't ever stop striving. Keep going and never give up on you. Invest in you. Invest in you. If that's the one thing that you get from me, invest in you. I promise it's the best investment you'll ever make. It's going to not only impact your life, but it's going to impact the lives of the generations that follow you as well. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you on the other side.